Welcome back to Herb the Nerd and today's FM video where I will be bringing you my 5 rules on how to make a Moneyball save or how to set up a Moneyball save in FM21. I've been running a Moneyball save with the MK Dons live on Twitch. So if you want to see how it's going live at the moment, make sure you go and check out the link and follow over on the Twitch channel. But today I'll be walking you through the 5 principles to stick to have a good Moneyball save. So, really, we should start at the top with the one big question, right? What is Moneyball? The big one. The Moneyball thesis, though, is actually quite simple, and I think it's quite an umbrella term, which is why it gets pulled and argued about a lot. I'm sure there's people right now are saying, a Moneyball save isn't even possible in FM. What do, you madman? Well, it's an umbrella term about using statistics to buy players for low amounts due to them being undervalued and sell players for the maximum price when you know that they are valued well. So let's get into it. Moneyball, as a thesis, is simple. Using statistical analysis, smaller market teams can compete with the bigger teams by buying assets or players that are undervalued by other teams and selling those players or their players that are overvalued by other teams. So using standard metrics to sell your players when they are performing within those standard metrics, because you're going to get top dollar for them. But then when you're looking for players that fall outside that top list, not using the same list of valuation for selling as you do for buying, trying to find players that are performing well in certain metrics but not others. But let's not get into too much. We're going to break it down and go through the sections. This will be a 5-part series. We're going to go into the rules now, the 5 rules, and obviously this introduction to Moneyball. And then we'll be following with more detail around some of the sections and how that actually breaks down to in-game performance and how I run it in-game, as well as sharing with you some of my screens and some of my selections so help you so you can import them in the game and work yourself. So if you are enjoying the content, do smash that like button, hit the subscribe as well and the notification bell so you can get the video in your inbox as soon as it is out and ready. Should we get into these 5 rules then? The 5 rules for Herb's Moneyball series and running an effective Moneyball save in FM. So, rule number 1. Net wage spend is the most important transfer metric. This is a big one. Control your contract costs. We are doing quite an interesting thing, and I'll go into more detail on that in the contract specific episode that we do on the Moneyball around performance-based pay, but using bonuses and performance-based pay. So when a player plays well, they get paid rather than just their basic salary. Your net wage shouldn't be going up and up without your performance increasing as well. It's a difficult one to manage, but there is ways of getting the data out of FM to check that your net wage is on track and your average wage for player is on track. Part of net wage as well is your total wage bill. One of the areas that you'll look at and one of the areas that we do, and we'll get into the rules, is having as fewer players as possible on the books, because that is just additional wage not required. So the rule number 1 is looking at your net wage spend as your most important transfer metric, keeping that wage cost under control. Rule number 2, we will only sign players aged at maximum age of 27. So 27 years old and younger. The reason for this is you are trying to buy assets and turn them for a profit. That means if a player is above the age of 27, they are already in their peak and likely about to go into their decline. You are trying to find players that are maybe potentially out of form or out of position, or at the moment are not valued well by the marketplace. You will not be able to turn them for a quick buck. You will be looking to play players in a system that gets the best out of them, that over a year to 2 years increases their value and enables you to sell them to make money. So that is taking a player that is 27 oldest, selling them at the age of 29. So here, selling them at their peak. Obviously, you can buy players a lot younger than that, and we'll be looking again into our scouting methods and how we pick up players and we do buy players a lot younger than that. But 27 is the max age you should go to, because to turn a value on that asset, you need to give it at least 2 years of life, and that means you will be catching players that are just hitting their peak for sale. Rule number 3. Players will be sold if a bid that matches their valuation comes in for them. This is gonna be a tough one. That means that the valuation that you assign to the player, I myself, I'm not taking the the valuation just within Football Manager. A lot of it obviously is based on the standard metrics of the valuation, the contracts, lots of things brought into place. I am taking that and adding a multiplier to it to decide what the value of that player is to me. But yes, if a player comes in that meets that valuation, they must be sold. If you have a striker that is having an amazing season and you are not sure that they will replicate it, and they are coming to the end of their cycle, or you've got players that are coming through, or you know players you could buy that are coming on, you should be selling them. You should be cashing in at maximum profit for those players. During our 4 seasons, we've done it well on some and badly on others. But that did mean in our first season, we sold our first team goalkeeper and our best player marked to make money because bids came in that met their valuation. Take advantage of teams panicking in the transfer market by being ahead. And the idea is behind your team, you have a structure of shortlists and scouted players. So you know who you want to be buying next anyway, so you have a shortlist to pull on. So there should be no panic buying involved. But this is a very difficult rule. If you have a player that's playing very well and big bids come in for them, that player should be sold if that valuation is met. Rule number 4, players must be signed for the first team. That means you buy players that are going to improve your team. I do not have a reserves or an academy team at the MK Dons. Again, rolling back to that net wage cost, the idea of what we're trying to do with the Moneyball is reduce those fixed costs within the business as much as possible, which means no under 18s team, means no under 18s coaching team, management team, physio team, the whole lot, recruitment team. They can all go. So the net wage spend of staff and players is already minimized a bit by not having young players in. And the second area of that is to develop a player costs a lot of money. To buy a player and pay their wages from 16 through to when they should be hitting the first team around 19, 20 is a lot of money. And if you don't have the best facilities, because you are a second-rate team, a Moneyball is about taking smaller market teams to compete with the big boys. If you're a smaller team, you don't have the best facilities. If you're a team, as we are, Milton Keynes, we're based just outside London. Why not use the London academies? We're never going to compete. We're never going to get the best youngsters because there are better academies around. So why compete? So we just get rid of them. So players that you sign must be signed. It means no signing wonder kids, no signing regens. Your youth academy that comes through every year, just bid them off. Unless they're ready to hit the first team, they do not get brought in. It keeps your wage cost down, it keeps your squad size small, and it means you minimize the cost in developing players that don't go on to turn into anything. And then rule number 5, we're looking for your transfer targets. Your ideal candidates should be transfer listed players or out of contract players, as that will help you manage expenditure, which means you need to be having your scouting network out there looking preemptively to get statistics built, to get reports built on players that you believe are going to come up for transfer list, are on the transfer list, or again are running out of contract. They are likely to not get renewed a contract. Therefore, you want to know everything about them so you can pounce quickly when their contract runs out. This will help you spend less in the transfer market, so you can sell your players for maximum, but you are again looking for bargains on players that have been transfer listed. Another great one to look at on these ones are teams that have been relegated. Teams that have been relegated out of your division or from the division above down, it's a little bit harder, but a lot of those players will want to move on because they will not have wanted to be relegated. So that means they will be pushing for a transfer list, and if they push for a transfer list, it means you should be picking up a very good player for a very reasonable price. You should be pouncing on some of those players. We again have done that as well. It's part of the save. Some of the areas we spent money in are when we're paying for transfer listed players from relegated teams, because those players want to move out quickly. You can pick up star players for a lot less money. So those are the 5 rules that I use for managing my Moneyball save with the MK Dons live on Twitch, as I've said. Link down below so you can go and follow that. So yes, we will be going through in detail as part of this whole Moneyball series, another video on how we scout and the scouting network we have created, how we find players, how we create the shortlists so we know who to buy because we're keeping a small squad. We'll be going through the transfers themselves and how we build up statistics on players that do not have statistics, which is a big problem. We'll be going through the contracts, so how we keep that net wage down, and the use of performance-based pay. And we'll be going through team selection and tactics, which seems a bit strange as well, but as part of the culture, you need to build your team selection and tactics to also encompass those metrics and to help get the most out of those players, to create the value of those players. So they will be the next 4 parts that are coming in there. So make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe so you catch them as soon as they come out. And if you have any questions, please do pop them in the comments down below, or catch us live on Twitch to go through there. We will be bringing videos as well of season reviews of kind of season 1 to 4, so you can see how it's been going as well and keep up to date with the save. I hope you have enjoyed. If you do have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Like I say, I'll catch you in the live stream or in the next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.